So we have already started creating our notebook for customer, and in this customer we have decided to create for SCD type 1. So as you already know, SCD type 1 is basically a slow changing dimension. Okay, and in this slow changing dimension we are not preserving our history, right? We are not preserving our history, we are basically doing an overwrite. So for example, if I'm having a customer like customer ID, or let's say we have customer name and we have region, let's say we have three columns. So I'm just giving a recap what we have done. So this is the thing we have in silver layer. We have more than these three columns, but let's suppose we have these three things in the silver layer: customer ID, region, name, right? And while loading this data into gold layer, what we are trying to do, we are trying to implement SCD type 2 feature, SCD type 1 feature. Okay, and with this feature we are not preserving any history, we are not storing any history. Okay, so it means if we have to copy this data and create a dimension table, so dimension table, why? Because this is, we are only implementing, this is a master data. Customer table is my master data, which does not contains any of my transactional value. Now, so basically we need a column which is known as dim ID or SID. You can say SID, surrogate ID for customer, or you can say dimension ID of the customer. Okay, we need one column dimension ID. Okay, and we need one column name as create date, and we need one column known as update date. So while creating this dimension ID, they, for example, if we have a customer ID starting from C1, I will try to make it as quick as possible. ABC1. Let's say this is the customer ID, customer name. Okay, and then we have his name as India region, right? Okay, so far we have not loaded any data. So while creating the init load, initial load, first time load, you can say. So we have created a parameter known as initial load, and if parameter value is 1, that means my notebook will only trigger first time. Okay, and next time onwards I will change the value of parameter from 1 to 0, and it will be available for subsequent runs. So when it is loading first time, what it will do, it will create the table with three more additional columns. One is dim ID, another one is create date and update date, right? And while creating the data, so imagine I did my first load in my the date is 1st Jan year 2025. This is the date. So okay, just a it loaded this data and it generated the ID. This is a kind of row number, a unique ID. Why it is helpful? It is helpful to create a star schema kind of stuff, and star schema I have already covered in my previous videos, right? So, and because it is loaded on 1st of Jan, right? So this 1st of Jan will be updated both in create date and update date. Okay, so this is a init load. In case of now, after this init load, all the load will be called as subsequent load, where the init underscore load value is a parameter which I defined to find out whether it is a subsequent load or init load. It will become 0. So in this 0, every day it is loading, but remember, if there is a no change in any master data, this data will remain same. So till 1st of May, the data is same, so no change, nothing will be changed, it will be as it is, right? Why? Because it will find out df underscore old, df underscore new. So as per my notebook which I created, right, the first thing what I did, I defined the variable. Fine, a variable value is 1, it means a init load. Then this is a simple select statement. It is selecting the data from my silver layer, the simple SQL query. Then we have created a data frame for this source data. So this is the source data. We have created a data frame for this and we named it this as a df. Then we are removing the duplicate. Obviously, why we are removing the duplicate? Because we need to create an every row id for every single element. So with the help of customer id, I remove the duplicate. Anyways, master data would not be having a duplicate, but if it is a duplicate, then it's a good to remove. How to create sid? We can create this dim id. Sid and dim id both are same, you can consider as of now. So we are creating this sid. Before creating the sid, we are sorting our entire data so that it should not be randomly placed. It should start from lowest number till highest number. So sorting I have done as ascending is true, right? So now what we can do, we can use this function which is known as monotonically increasing id. So that id will be generated for each and every row. Okay, with starting from 0. So we added one constant we are adding just to make sure our dimension id created is starting from 1. Correct. This is as same as your row number. Row number is another sql function which we can use in windows. Okay, but we are not using row number, we are using this one. Okay, but both are same. So we have created a new column which is known as dimension id. Now we have to find out, we have to create another two columns like create date and update date. And if it is an init load, it should populate current timestamp both in create date and update date, right? But before populating any such thing, we have to first find out a logic for what is the old record, what is the new record. So right now if you see, in for initial load there is a no data available, so all will be new record only. Correct. So we have also seen the concept of how to create a pseudo table. I'm not going to touch each and everything, but this is the way we are doing a pseudo table and why we need this pseudo table to be created. You can see in our last session, right? So basically, why df dot old dot display? So there is a nothing old record, no record was existing, that's why no data is populated here. Okay, this is our final table. Now imagine if we have some old data, then what we will do, we will prepare the file for all data. Then we find out, first of all, how to find out new data and old data. We have already seen. We will use, so this source data, we call this as a df. Data frame is df. Okay, we are calling this as a df, right? And this is your initially this is, imagine this is df underscore old, means there is old data. Right now in our case the data is empty, but we can create a join to find out, right? So if we do a left outer join, right, what will happen this time? Because if it is totally empty, then all the values of dimension ids, create date and update date will become null. So this is how we can find out which one is a old data, means already existing data, and which one is a new data. So here is the logic to find out. If it is new data, means new, what is the meaning of new data? The meaning of new data is any new record. If there is any new record, right, for this dimension id will not be null, dimension id will be existing. For example, mm, sorry, for new record it is null. Imagine a new record c8 came, correct, with this abc8 and region is india only, right? This new data has come, right? So in this case what will happen, do we have uh, this in existing table c8? No, it means it's a new record. So if I join this df with this df old, what will happen? It will, the dimension id will become null. There is no dimension id, right? So it means we would be able to find out that whether it is a new data or old data. For old data, dimension ids will be there. You can see dimension id is there, right? So that's why we can find out two things, df old and df new. Now we will decide how to prepare this df new and df old, right? So we were in the section of preparing the df old. So in this df old, what we did, we have simply, if it is old record, means only existing record, what we need to do, we need to just update the update date record. created date will be same as 1st January. For example, in my case, imagine if C1 is there, C1 is already there, right? But right now in source table, the C1 value has changed to from India to US, right? So it means the data is there, but we will only change the update date. That's it. So update date will be current date. So this is the logic we have built. Now, what is our next section? Next section is to prepare df new. Okay. And how to prepare df new? Simply, okay. So first of all, let me connect to my server. And once it is connected, what I will do, I will run all sections, run all, and we will wait for this last section to be executed successfully. Okay. And then we will create a df new. So now what we are doing? So basically, I'm just repeating one more time, we have these customer IDs which was initially loaded, right? And after 1st of May, a new customer ID is seen in the source. So first thing is we have to create a different data frame where all existing customer ID should be there, and that data frame is known as df old. And in this data frame, what we will do, we will not create the dimension ID because dimension ID is already existing. So dimension ID will not be created. We will not create any update date because this entry was created on 1st of January. So this date will be there, 1st of January. We will not touch this date also. We will only touch update date because it is updated, so it will be updated. However, we have to split the new records from this table. So this table is split into different data frame. And here I copied the because this C8 is not existing. And how we are splitting that? By writing a filter expression. So if my dimension ID is null, for C8 there is no dimension ID. After joining these two tables in C8 there is no dimension ID. So it will become df underscore new. This C8 will be copied here, right? If dimension ID is null, correct? And if dimension ID is not null, for these element dimension ID is existing, it means it is not null. So these will be copied under df underscore old. Clear? Now in df underscore old, I will only update, I will current update date. In df underscore new, I will create dimension ID. I will create date, and I will create update date as well, right? But this time dimension ID will not start from 1 or 0. From where it will start? It will first start with maximum dim IDs plus 1, right? What is maximum dim ID in this section? Maximum dim ID in this section is 7. So it will start from the next number, that is 8, right? So we have to follow this step. So these are the steps to prepare the data, this df underscore old, and we have to prepare df underscore new, right? So how to prepare df underscore old, we have already seen that, right? This is the option to prepare df underscore old. First of all, we have dropped all the non-required column because these columns are only used to make this data splitted, right? After join, we have to split the data. So our job is done. So I'm just dropping these columns. Now the next thing is I am just copying the same create date which is there. I'm copying the same create date here, right? So this is the way to create it. Then I'm converting my create date to timestamp. So that is also a good idea because we should track the time. stem, right? Then I am updating the update date as a current timestamp. So this is what I told. We have to just update the update date, right? So this part is over. Now in today's session, we will prepare the df underscore new, and you know how to prepare this. We will see this now. Okay, fine. So we have to create df underscore new, and how to create this. So my okay, server is connected. Now I'm preparing the df underscore new. So first of all, let me check what we have in the df underscore new. Okay, if I check the data, I can use this dot display simple, and I will run this command to see what is currently available, right? So in this df underscore new, you can see you have these things. So again, we should drop these columns, right? This is not required. So in df underscore new, we know we have existing records. These are the new records actually. Okay, so while preparing this data, what we will do, again we will write you know dropping the not required columns, dropping not required columns. Okay, how to drop the not required columns, df underscore new. So which column is not required? So enders from df underscore new dot drop. Okay, so yeah, I don't require old, whatever we have in the old, right? These all are existing, so this is not required. Okay, then what I want to recreate, I want to recreate. So if you see my excel, what we have to do, we have to create date and update date. And what will be the, what we will copy in the create date, it will be current timestamp. Okay, it will be current timestamp because today only creating, we are creating it. So this C8 is created on 1st of May. So it will, create date will be current timestamp, and update will be also be a current timestamp. Okay, so what we should do, recreate update underscore date comma create underscore date, right? Column with current timestamp. Okay, so this is looking good. Okay, we can use this one, fine, and we can display this, right? So let's execute it. We have not yet created the dimension IDs. We will do that. But first, let's see what's coming in my data frame. So you can see my irrelevant columns are dropped. Okay, the way we have discussed here. And for new entry, your create date is updated is today's date, whatever current date, and update date is also current timestamp. Okay. Now, what is next? We need to create our key, surrogate key, dim ID or SID, right? So let's add the text, adding surrogate IDs, surrogate IDs. Okay, and how to create the surrogate IDs? With the help of customer key, right? Customer ID. And how to create it? First, we have to find out what is the maximum dimension ID within this existing one, within this df underscore old. Okay, and then we will, you know, take our next ID starting with +1, next ID with the maximum ID, correct? So adding surrogate key. So basically, in our scenario, okay, let me make it bold, or let me make it heading 3. Okay, adding surrogate key, but this time I will add surrogate key starting from 1. Why I am starting from 1? Right, because during our initial load we don't have any data, right? Right now we are running for initial load 1. right? So ideally it should start with 1. So what I will do, df underscore new equals to df underscore new dot, what we will do, with column. We will use with column statement because we are creating the with column, and I'm creating dim customer key. Because right now, if you see the reality, what is the reality? The reality is we don't have any record. For init load equals to 1, we don't have even table created. It's a pseudo table. We don't have even one record. It means for init load 1, we don't have any existing ID, right? You can see if you see df underscore old, it is totally 0. This is df underscore, it is totally 0. So no dimension id is existing right now for this init load 1, right? So we should, what we should do, we should imagine creating the surrogate key, dimension key. Actually we are creating dimension key starting from 1. And how to do that? We will use the same monotonically increasing id plus let 1. Okay, and then we can display the data once, right? So let me display the data. Now you can see it has added, this dimension key is added. Okay, now starting with 1, fine. But okay, my, okay, the problem is we have not done the sorting. Okay, that's why. So what we should do, we should first sort the data, right? So before creating this, let me sort the data, and we can use this df underscore new dot sort. Okay, then I can sort with the help of customer id. Yes, customer underscore id. Okay, and I can sort for ascending order, right? I can simply type as ascending equals to true. Correct. Let me first sort this out, and after sorting, let me recreate this. This time you can see the dimension id is created with sorted, uh, starting from 1. Okay, so this is done. Now if it is created, what we should do, we should add maximum surrogate key id, maximum dim id, right? So what is the next step? We should just create adding maximum sid. Okay, how to add maximum sid? So in this manner, this maximum sid will only be added. Okay, so there are two conditions. If my init underscore load equals to 1, what would be the maximum surrogate key id? It should be 0, right? Because if my init load, there is a no data existing, so maximum surrogate key id will be 0, right? But if init load equals to subsequent load equals to 0, it means if it is subsequent load, then what I will do, I will add maximum of this column, right? So there will be two conditions. So first I will write if init underscore load equals to 1, it means if it is init load, what will be my maximum surrogate key id? Let's say I'm using max underscore sid. Okay, this is the column which I defined. Then it will be 0, right? I will write else statement. If it is any other value other than 1, it means if it is subsequent id, then what will be my max sid? Sid will be maximum number of this dimension key column. Correct. So how I can do that? I can simply write the SQL, but because I'm writing in a Python, so what I should write, spark.sql. Then I will use select maximum of dim customer, maximum of this column, right? Maximum of this dim customer key. Okay. dim customer key. Okay, from where? Okay, then call this as a as. We are using a why it is okay. Why it is coming as it's not reading. Just wait a second. Customer key. Okay, no problem. As max underscore SID. Okay, sorry. This should be a DF. Okay, I have to copy this in a data frame. Okay, and let's say make a data frame like max SID, something like that. Okay, or we can make this as max surrogate key. Okay, all this is max SID. Anyway, no problem. So I'm making this as a maximum SID. Okay, from I should write from then ADB. What is my catalog name? Let me see the catalog name. Where this should be inside the gold layer. I'm not sure what's taking time. Hmm, there is some problem. Okay, no problem. Let me copy from the top the name of my this ADB underscore cat, and that will be inside the gold layer. Okay, from ADB underscore cat dot gold dot, you can say, dim customer. This is the table which we are looking for. Okay, okay, so I have created a data frame. Now I'm converting this into a variable because I will be using this variable. Okay, just a second, sorry. Let me write a text converting of df underscore max id, right? So this is my data frame to max underscore sid key variable, right? So basically, remember, I'm creating a data frame, but how many elements it will populate in this data frame? Only one value will be populated, right? But why I'm putting under this data frame? Because I have to write this into SQL. So in Python I have to always use spark.sql, and within this spark.sql I have written this select max dimension key as max id. So remember, in my example, if I see this example, if I find the maximum of dimension id, so what will be my result? So result will come as 7, because 7 is the maximum. But do you think it is a data frame? It can be data frame, but it is having only one single value, right? So that's why I have to convert this entire data frame to max underscore key. So I'm just storing the value. Okay, and how to store? If you have a data frame and if you have to store the value from this data frame, right? So you will use collect function to store that. What we will use? We will use collect function. And how to use this collect function? Simply, we can just copy this into max underscore sid. So this is a variable. I'm just using max underscore sid equals to key, and see, it's already suggesting me. I will use collect function. Okay, dot collect. So whatever value we will be having inside this data frame, so inside this data frame we have 7, so that 7 will be collected within this variable. Okay, and plus we can because this is having only one element, And when we have a data frame, we have something known as index. So index always start with 0, right? So we should specify index in square bracket. So in this index square bracket, we can make this as 0. However, in our case, it is not required. Okay, but let's make this max underscore sid, okay, underscore key. Okay, we can name this like this is the correct statement. Anyway, we can just update it. Okay, after running this, wait a moment, let me print this. Okay, let me try to print this max underscore sid underscore key to see what value it is coming. Is not defined. Hmm, okay,
Because
so
X above
okay, okay, that is the problem. 1 second. Yeah, it is done. Then let me print this maxed. In our case, it's 0, right? Why it is 0? Because we are running in init load 1. So maximum SID is 0 for our case. Okay, got it. Fine. Now, what what is the next item? Next item is to add this maximum ID which I created and find out within this dim ID. Right? We need to do this exercise which is left. Right? So what we can just write a text name as adding max underscore key. Okay, to df underscore new, right? So this portion was missing as of now. How to add this? Again, df underscore new equals to df underscore new dot with column, right? And then I am adding into my dimension key. So this will only run when we have, okay, this new data, right? Customer key. And what we have to add? We have to first add our lit. Then we have to add is this max underscore surrogate key. So we have copied under this variable, right? We have copied under this variable, correct? The value of this. So we will add first this variable. Let me copy this max underscore. So I copied this. This is the variable. So this is a constant. That's why we have kept under lit function. Okay. And then what we will do? We will copy in existing column of dim ID. This will satisfy both the things. Both the things means even if it is an init load, imagine what is the maximum ID? Maximum ID will be 0, right? So in my init load, what is the maximum SID? It's 0. 0 is copied in this variable max SID key, correct? In during our initial load, it is 0 and it is copied under this. So if we write this expression, what will happen? Within this dimension key, 0 is there. It will only use dimension key ID. And what dimension key ID we have written? We have written this dimension key starting from 1, right? So for init load, this dimension key will be starting from 1. But imagine it is, if it is not init load, it means there are 7 records is already there, right? Correct. So it will first calculate the maximum id. Okay, it will first generate this id for the new data set. For example, there is a new data set c8. C8 is there in this df underscore new. For c8, what it will do, it will run this command and it will generate id number 1, right? It is generating with this monotonically 0 id, 0 plus 1, the id 1 is generated, right? Then what it do, it go to next step, it will find out first maximum id. So in this maximum id, first it will check this table, dimension customer table, right? So in this dimension customer table, you can see you already have maximum id is 7, right? Then it will copy this value of 7, right, here in max key id, correct? And next time it will, this will become 7, 7 plus 1, 7 plus 1, then id will be overwritten as 8, correct? So this has satisfied our both the result, even for init load and even for subsequent load. Okay, interesting. Now we can simply execute this command and we will check. Okay, what's staying, maximum set key is not defined. Okay, I think we have to use this one. Okay, because anyway I just kept this one. Okay, this is not correct. Because this I have added, right? Let's see. So this program will only run in case of else block. Else means when we have init load 1. For subsequent load only this will run. Okay, and let's use this now. Yeah, it is added. Okay, now you want to display the data. Let me display for 10 records. So right now we all have, it's a subsequent load, right? So it will only show starting from 1 because maximum id is 0, right? So this is done. Now what we have to do, we have this df underscore new, df underscore old is ready, which contain existing record. Df underscore new is ready. Now what we should do, we should make these two data frames copied in a union. We have to union this data frame. So union will, what union will do, union will create another data frame. Okay, you can think this way. It will create another data frame which is known as df underscore union. Okay, and in this union you will be having all the entries, all the existing entry. Okay, because you already updated the records which you need, existing entry, plus you will having new entries as well, plus you will be having c8 as well, right? So you need to perform union. Okay, so what we will do, we will create union. We'll just name this as union of df underscore new and df underscore old, correct? You can just make this as a heading, and we can make this as this df underscore final, or you can make this as a df underscore union. So how we will do this, df underscore new. Okay, and then you will use dot union by name, means because based on name name of the column, it will do this union by name, and you will use df underscore old because both your name is same. So if you are doing it union, both of your name should be same, right? So we have only four columns for df new. The same four columns should be there because I'm doing do be with name, right? And finally you can display the result also after doing a union, right? So let me display the result. If there is any inconsistency, if name is not appropriate, it will not add anything. So you can see the same data is coming because you don't have anything which is already existing right now. So that's why df old is 0, df new is having 10 records, so this is same. So this has completed your df final, right? Now what we have to do, now we have to write this entire data into our table which is existing, right? So you have to write in the table. So what table we have inside gold layer? Okay, inside gold layer we have a table known as dim customer. Okay, so I need to, because I created this thing, now I'm going to just, we can type this as SCD type 1. Okay, make this as a heading 1. Sorry. Okay, so what we will do, is table existing in my catalog? It's not there, right? So first the table should be created. Okay, so let me first check whether table is existing or not existing. How to check? So I will use you know a function known as spark.catalog. So it will check the information within the catalog using a Spark language, and we can use table because right now I can check manually by going through it. But how system will check? Okay, table exists, so it will check if this table is existing, right? Then it will override the table. Otherwise, it will create the table something. It will do something. But I want to first check whether table is existing or not. If it is not existing, then I will use print. Okay, table exists, and if it is not existing, it will print table does not exist, right? Let me check first. So do we have table? We don't have table, so it will go in else block and it will print me table does not exist, right? Agreed?
Yes.
Or if you want to make this in a different manner, okay, now what we have to do, if table is not existing, what we should do, we should create the table. Okay, so there are different ways of creating the table. Let me first close this section. Okay, the one important way, because we have to create a delta table, we are creating delta lake, right? So we can use the way we are importing the function, we are importing the PySpark SQL function. The same way we will import some of the delivered content, which is known as delta.table import star. If you have to create a delta table, you can use this delta table import dot star. This will make your things easier. You might have heard about ctest command, right? CTAS,
Yes.
create table as select, which we were using mostly. But so same command is wrapped under one function which is known as delta function. So we can directly use from delta dot tables import. First of all, we have to import this library, and once this library is imported, right, we can write the things. Okay, but if you don't want to use this, there is another way. Okay, what is another way? I'm just making this comment out so that you would be able to understand. You can write this, okay? If init load, if my init underscore load equals to 1. See, if my init load 1 means table is not there. There is a first time load, correct? Then what I will do? I will use df underscore final. This data frame I need to write this data frame. How to write? By using format, using delta. What kind of table I want to write? Make it delta. Okay, and I want to make the mode of write is overwrite, right? Overwrite, correct? And where I want to write, I can make, if you want to make save as table, I want to save this table as here, right? Save as table. Okay, correct. No need to put the else statement. Okay, right? I can do this. This is one way of writing the table, creating the table. Simple. If my init load is 1, I will write the data in a delta format. The mode will be override. I want to save this under this catalog, under this schema gold, under with the table name dim customer, right? So this you can do, but I'm just making this comment out, okay, because I should show you all the options. So I will put this hash starting every line, okay, and hash means comment out means this will not run, this will just like a text, but you would be able to understand, right? So what I did, instead of writing in this manner with the ctest, so this is nothing, a kind of ctest only, I'm importing a library which is known as delta table library, right? So I've imported a library on already inbuilt functions. So how I can create now table, I can create table using this command only, sorry, this spark.catalog table exists. With the help of this command, we will create the table. Okay, right. So now I will write if my table exists. I will keep this in under Spark. If my Spark dot catalog, okay, dot table exists. If my table exists, which table? This table is exist. Adb underscore cat dot gold dot dim customer. Okay, fine. So this is a bracket for this one, and this big bracket is for this one, right? So entire if loop, then I've put colon. So what I will do, if my table is existing, I will create the data or I will not create the data. If my table is exist, what is the need of creating the data, right? Okay. So what I will do, if my table is exist, let's create a variable known as delta object, something known as delta object. I'm creating a variable because if my table is existing, that means I'm creating a variable. Okay. So basically what I'm trying to do now, right now. So my df new is ready. Sorry, df final is ready. This is my df final. Okay. Then let's call this as a df final. Df underscore final. Correct. Now this is known as source. This is your source. Let's call this as a source. This is your target, TGT. Let's call this as a target, TGT. Right. Now we have three things. We have this source. We have this intermediate element object, which is known as df underscore final, and we have a target, right? So in between we have three things. Now what we have to do? We have to write this table. Okay. As of now, table is not there because of initial load, but imagine the table is there. So what we will do, we will first create the dbt object. Okay, let's not fill this time. Okay, let's go to else condition once, because right now my table is not existing, right? So I will directly first go in else condition. right now at this stage. And what I will do, okay, I will try to create the table, correct? So df underscore final, right? First I will create the table. How to create the table? In the same manner, the way I have created. Write dot, okay, format, or you can make this thing as first write mode. You can make anything before, no problem. So I'm making a mode is overwrite, correct? And then what I should do, the type of table, right? So I will write this format. What kind of table it will be? It will be delta table, obviously, right? And format is a specify. Now you should keep this in single line, right? What I should do, I should use option, because I'm creating the same table in my gold layer, this thing as well, right? Wait a moment. Let me, okay. Okay. Anyway, so I am writing in my container as well. Okay. So in option, I am writing in this path. It's always good to write the path. Okay. Then I will use abfss colon double forward slash, and then I will use my gold, because I have a gold container in my storage account. What is the storage account? I'm Let me check the storage account.
SCDs.
Let me check. I don't know. Okay. If I'm not able to find the storage account name here, I can go to catalog. In this catalog, I can go to external data, and this is the one, right? See, SSACL. Okay, right. SSACL dot dfs dot core dot windows dot net. Okay, and inside this, I want to create the same table which I am creating here with the same name, customer. Okay, and then I'm going to save this, save as option, save as table. Inside my catalog, I want to save in this table, right? So right now my table is not existing, so it will go inside the else block. It will create the table, right, as it is. But imagine if my init load is not, if not 1, but if it is 0 for subsequent load, then my table is existing. Yes, if my table is existing, then what I should do, I should merge the data, right? I should write delta table, because I'm just copying the delta table within one variable which is known as dlt underscore object. Then I will use for path. Why I'm using for path? Because it will go in this path. Okay, if my table is existing, it will first go in this path. I will use this spark, and I will use the same path will be copied. Okay, I will go to this path first, and copy this dlt object here, delta object here, right? Then what I will do, I will create this, I will make this delta object as target. right? This is what I'm doing here also. This I'm defining it as a target, this entire thing. This table is available in my SSACL container, right? And this is sorry, this is available in my gold container. SSACL is my storage account, okay, and the name of the table is dim customer. If you see this path, gold is my container, SSACL is my storage account, and this is my table name, right? So I am specifying this entire string, okay, as DTL object, right? And I am just renaming it as a TGT, target, right? So what I will do, first I will copy this entire path, because wherever I have to use this this entire long string, I cannot use it, right? So best thing is that copy this in a variable DLT underscore object, and now I'm creating this DLT object an alias name, okay. See how what's the this is the smartness of Databricks, right? It knows what we have to specify. So we just specifying TGT in a short form, right? Then this is done. Now what we will do, we will merge this file as a source. This will become my source, right? This is df underscore final, so this will become my source, src, right? So what I will do, I will use this operation as merge, because I am merging this data, right, into this, correct? So it will merge. So remember, this is already containing all the customer, existing plus new, old plus new, and this also containing existing. So merge, what merge will do, merge will compare each and every data for C1, and if data is changed, if it is not changed, then it's fine. If C2 is not changed, then it's fine. C3 is not changed, then it's fine. But we know C1 is changed from India to US, right? So so region will be merged, and it says okay, C1 is changed, then it will update this C1 and give and override this update date as well. Okay, so this is the beauty what we are trying to do. So we are merging the data by using this column. So we have to merge, which one we have to merge? We have to merge our df underscore final, right? So just write df underscore final, okay, and then we are making this df underscore final alias as alias, okay. The name should be, so I'm making this as a source, so it is reading my mind, okay. This Databricks knows what I want to write, okay. So this df underscore final is my source, which is known as src. This has become my target, this has become my target, right? Let's make this colored, and this has become my tgt, right? Tg stands for target, okay. And df uh, final is will become my source, right? So I need to merge the source data into target. What's the meaning of merge? Meaning of merge means it will check all the entries of C1. It find, oh no, region has changed, so it will change the region from India to US, and India to US, and it will update the data current date. What is the today's date? Let's say today is May 2025, right? So it will change these two values, US and update date, and it will not touch your dim id, right? Because C1 contains this information, US, right? C1 contains the existing dimension id, right? So this is what is the concept of merge. So instead of writing so merge, we are making dlt object. What is dlt object? Dlt object is nothing but this entire data which is available in this path. It's tgt, we call this as a tgt. We are merging df final, which we call this as a src, right? And after that, how we are merging, we have to specify some column name, right? How we are merging? We are merging on the basis of this dim id, because dim id is the only unique thing, right? Dim id will be same for c1, same for c2, same for c3, and same here. Dim id is the only column which is available in both the section. However, every column is available in both the section, right? But dim id is the only one which will be matching. Rest of the things can change. Customer id can change, customer name can change, right? But dim id will remain same, correct? So we are merging on the basis of dim id. So what we should write? We should write tgt dot dim customer, right? Dim customer key, okay, will be equals to src. We call this as a src dot dim customer key, correct? So this is the thing, and we will use in this merge operation. We have two functions. One is known as when matched update all, when not matched insert all. What does it mean? If this is matching, if all is matching, then update. It means if c1 is matching, ab1 is matching, everything is matching, okay, just check and match all, match everything, right? And update it. Update which is not matching. This is the meaning of that. Okay, okay, sorry, I did not use this. Okay, if you want to see, just make one enter and you can see. So just give one tab, okay, then give one tab, execute. So this has completed. Now let's read. When matched all, it will update all. When not match, insert all. If nothing is matching after this customer, nothing is matching, because do we have c8? No, we don't have a c8. So c8 is not, customer is c1 not matching, customer is not matching, everything is null for this c8, right? So it will update c8, new customer, everything it will update, right? Okay, and then we will write this execute. So this is interesting. So this has completed. Now
Yes, sir.
we can execute it. See, this time it will successfully execute. Okay, now your final table is done. We have overwritten the data. Right. Now we can check the data. If you want to see, do we have table or not? After execution, the table might have created. If you want to see, you can see df final spark, everything is done. If you can see, now the table will be there inside the gold layer. You can see dim customer has created successfully. Got it? If you see, want to see, you can see what are the values we have in the dim customer. We have customer id, create date, and update date. Okay, we have only this column, but mm, maybe this is not the right, because why we have not the other columns? Okay, I think okay, when we are creating the df underscore final, right, this should display all the columns, but it is only displaying 4 columns. Okay. Mm, okay, no problem, we will figure out. But as of now, our scd type 1 is ready. Okay, so any questions so far? I think we are good as of now.
So then next ID, everything.
One thing is very important, which is why it is only showing 4 column, because when we are creating a join, left join, we have to check our left join once. Okay, because we have more columns, right? If you see df, what is your df? Df contains city, state, domain, and full name, right? So this is fine, this is fine. Here it is showing till here the data is okay, till here also data is okay, till here data is okay. Df okay, it is showing all the values, so df is fine, right? But okay, init load, okay, this is old, this is old, we just preparing the old. Here we are creating the join, okay, but when we are creating this join, this should give me more columns. Let me check our join condition. Df old, then df dot customer id, df old. Here we should specify left. Okay, now it should show me all the records, but it is not showing. Okay, so somehow let me first check about df. Df dot display. Okay, let me check this. It is only showing two entries. That is the problem. Why it is showing two entries? Strange. Okay, okay, okay. We are running from silver. So till now df is okay. Okay, let me run all. Let me see and run all, because there are something not good. Just showing all the entries. Now we are creating the SID. Okay. Now this time, because table is already existing, so what it will be? It will df old will show all the result. Okay, no, df old is still not showing all the results. We got the error. The error is because we are just assigning our data frame with these two columns, which is not right. What we should do? We should select all, right? We should write select all. Yeah. So actually, we should not do this. I think just in a hurry, what we did, you know, I execute. It was generated. Yeah, it was generated by Databricks somehow, and I just click OK. That's the reason. Okay. Anyway, so let me rerun all. Let me rerun all, and I'm running for one. That means I'm running for a subsequent load. But this time it might throw an error because table was already existing. Okay. But let's see. See, now it is showing me all the columns df.display. Earlier it was not showing. Okay. Now you can see this is joined. Okay, fine. Divide the data into new records. See, we all have new records. Then in old record, we don't have anything. We are preparing this old data, new list, correct? Adding surrogate, maximum surrogate ID is still showing 0. Why? Because init load is 1. Okay. Then adding maximum key, we should go to down. Then union, table exists. See, this time it's showing table exists, right? Because table was existing. Now this is also done. Everything is successful. Now what we should do? We should select the records directly from table. How to select the records? We can use select star from
Select star from
dim. Okay. So just write select star from ADB. This is the ADB. This is the goal. This is the dim customer, right? And just click. Now you have successfully created your customer dimension with the help of SCD type 1. Now you can see. So you have 2000 records. Okay. So it is showing all the records. And you can see, oh, again it is showing. Why? Because it is showing this thing. Because the table was created with only these columns. Got it? That was the thing.
yes.
If you have to create the table, what you have to do? You have to drop this table once again. Correct? Okay. If you drop the table, then only it will come. Right? So let's try to drop the table. Okay. So basically, let me drop this table because it was created when there was a two column only, right? So I'm just dropping this table. Let's see. It is there. Correct. Now let me check if table is dropped or not. If customer is there, let me refresh this and then check. We don't have a table now. Correct. Now let me delete this code because this will drop the data every time and it is not right. Okay. I deleted that code after dropping it. Correct. Now what I should do? I should run all. So it's very important to debug to check the data, check the table structure because even if a minor mistake in your notebook will create a problem for you. Okay. So let me check which all code has done just now, just now, just now, just now. It is done. Now it is also done. It is also done. Added. Okay. You can see this time it will say table does not exist, right? This test code I have written which says table does not exist. That means it will create a table. Okay. And if it is creating a table, okay, it is showing an error. This is showing, yeah, because we have deleted the table, but this table we have not deleted, right? In this path. Okay.
Yes.
So we should go to our resources, evolve resources, and inside my, okay, this SSCL. What I should do? I should go inside my container. In the container, I can go to gold container. In that container, I should drop this as well because it is trying to create that, right? Now, what I can do? So till now, everything it is triggered. I can just run this again, this cell again. Okay. Now you can see this is completed. Now you can check the data one more time. So this entire thing is done. Okay. So this has completed the exercise of creating, SCD type 1 for customer master data. Similarly, we can create the similar kind of implementation for any such master data where we don't have to preserve our history. So in next, what we will do, we will do it for SAG type 2 for our next master data, which is customer master, sorry, product master data. Okay. Thank you.